Alright, so this first combo is your bread and butter combo. If you only open Moye and then another Worm Monster or a Swordsoul card that doesn't really do anything in your hand, in this case we'll use Vishuda. So you normal summon Moye, you use Moye effect, reveal Vishuda in your hand, and you special summon your Swordsoul token. Then you're going to synchro both of these away into your Grandmaster Chixiao. You're going to activate Chixiao's effect to search for a Swordsoul card as Chainlink 1, and then Moye's effect to draw a card as Chainlink 2. It's very important you order them in this way because having Moye as Chainlink 2 will protect your Chixiao effect from hand traps like Ash Blossom and Ghost Ogre. So with Moye, you're going to go ahead and draw a card. For our purposes, it doesn't really matter what it is. And then for Chixiao, you're going to go ahead and switch your deck for Blackout. And if this is the extent of your hand, you would just set the Blackout and then pass turn to your opponent. You have a Monster Negate as well as a Pop 2 with the Blackout. If you know your opponent is on a deck that benefits from destruction, so say they play something like Unchained, where they would actually love for their cards to be destroyed, you can opt to not search for Blackout and instead search for Long Yuan instead. So if you search for Long Yuan, you can activate Long Yuan effect, discard your Vishuda, special summon Long Yuan, summon your Swordsoul token, and then you can synchro into any level 10 synchro of your choice. Most of the time, this would just be Qixing Long Yuan. He's the best for on your turn 1 since he has multiple layers of disruptions. You can go for Changing if you know that Qixing Long Yuan is not good in your specific matchup, but Changing you usually want to save for the follow-up to close out the game. Alright, so this next combo will showcase just what you can do with just one more extender in your hand. So in this case, we have Long Yuan in our hand already. So we're going to go ahead and normal summon Moye. We're going to use Moye effect, reveal Vishuda in your hand, and summon our Swordsoul token. Now you don't want to go into your Chixiao immediately in this kind of hand, because what you want to do is you're going to go ahead and activate your Long Yuan effect first, and discard your Vishuda, special summon Long Yuan, and then summon your second Swordsoul token. Now, if you play Baron de Fleur, and you suspect your opponent might have Nibiru the Primal Being, this is where you would synchro your token and your Long Yuan away into your Baron de Fleur. For our budget deck profile, since we don't have Baron de Fleur, you can't really play around Nibiru, but you just gotta put your opponent on having it. So most of the time you go into your Qixing Long Yuan, and then you're gonna use your Long Yuan effect Engrave to burn your opponent for 1200 damage. After you've summoned your Qixing Long Yuan, then you can synchro your token and your Moye away into your Chixiao. And the reason we do this is because if you synchro summon while Qixing Long Yuan is on the field, you get to draw another card as well. So here you're going to use Chixiao effect as Chainlink 1, Qixing Long Yuan as Chainlink 2, and then Moye as Chainlink 3. So you get to draw 2 random cards, and then Chixiao will search your deck for your Swordsoul Blackout. So here you set your Swordsoul Blackout, you have 1 Monster Negate, Pop 2, 1 Banish of a spell or trap, and then 1 Banish of a special summon monster, as well as 2 random cards drawn, which could be potentially hand traps. Alright, so another combo you can do with Moye, Long Yuan, Vishuda is if you do play Sacred Summit in your deck, like the budget deck profile does, you actually have a very easy OTK line anytime you go second. So you can go ahead and normal summon Moye, use Moye effect, reveal Vishuda from your hand, and summon your Swordsoul token. Then you use your Long Yuan effect, discard your Vishuda, special summon your Long Yuan, and special summon your other token. Now, here, you're gonna do the same play as before. You're going to summon your Qixing Long Yuan, or you can summon your Changing if you're trying to go for lethal damage, especially if there already are cards banished. Changing can be very helpful since he reduces your opponent's monster's attacks by 100 for every banished card, and then he gains 100 for every banished card as well. So we'll go for him in this case since we're trying to kill our opponent this turn, and then we synchro our Moye and our token into our Swordsoul Grandmaster Chixiao. We're going to do Chixiao Chainlink 1, Moye Chainlink 2. Moye will draw us a random card, but then with Chixiao here, since we've already gone through Long Yuan and we are trying to end the game this turn, there's no reason to search for Blackout either. So here we're going to search for our Sacred Summit. And now earlier when you synchro summon Changing using Long Yuan, you should have burned your opponent for 1200 damage. So right now they're at 6800. Assuming there are no banished cards, in that your chain isn't gaining any attack. Right now, this is only 5,800 on board. So if you activate your Sacred Summit and you target your Swordsoul Moye, you summon your Moye back. Now that gives you over 68 damage, which means that you now have enough damage to kill your opponent. Alright, so this combo will showcase what you can do with just Tenyis in your hand. Now, in order for the Tenyis to be your starting place, you need an Ashuna in your hand, and then either Adhara or Vishuddha, one of these two. Either one work, you just tutor the other one from your deck. In this case, we'll go ahead and showcase what it's like with Adhara in your hand. So since you control no effect monsters, you can use Ashuna's effect to special summon itself from the hand. You link Ashuna away, summon your Monk of the Tenyi. And then since you still control no effect monsters, you can use Adhara effect in the hand to summon itself. And then you can use your Ashuna effect in the graveyard, banish itself to summon Vishuddha from your deck. Now if you open the Vishuddha, it would work the exact same. You would special summon Vishuddha from your hand and then summon the Adhara from your deck. From here, you're gonna synchro these two away into your Swordsoul Grandmaster Chi-Shao. Now, with the Chi-Shao, you have a few options. So, you have your standard options of going for either Blackout or Long Yuan. But here, since you have not normal summoned, you can also just go for Swordsoul Moe if you would like. It really depends on what you want to accomplish. You can search for Swordsoul Moe if you want to get another draw. Say you're digging for cards that you sided in after game 1. You can go for Long Yuan if you think one of the level 10 synchros would benefit you more, or Blackout if perhaps your opponent is playing some sort of back row strategy and it would be very beneficial for you to destroy their back row before it gets passed back to your own turn. But it's pretty simple. If you search for Blackout, you just set it and you pass your turn. If you search for Long Yuan or Moye, you go ahead and use your Adhara effect, banish itself to add your Ashuna from your banish to your hand. So here, if you added Long Yuan to your hand, use Long Yuan effect, discard your Ashuna, summon your token, and then you can go ahead and synchro into whichever level 10 synchro you would like. Unfortunately, you will not get the extra draw off of Qixing Long Yuan since you did not synchro summon after he was summoned, but you'll still get that body on board. Now, if you went for Swordsoul Moye instead, here what you can do is you normal summon Moye, you review Ashuna, summon your Swordsoul token, and then you synchro your Swordsoul token and your Moye away into... So unfortunately, if you are not playing Draco Berserker of the Tenyi, there isn't a great option here because you are locked into only summoning worm monsters. So if you aren't playing Draco Berserker of the Tenyi, I actually wouldn't recommend you search Moye. I would just recommend you search Blackout or you search Long Yuan. If you are playing Draco Berserker of the Tenyi, you can then synchro your Moye and your token away into Draco Berserker, which is a nice disruption on your opponent's turn. And you can use Moye effect to draw you an additional card. So then you end on a monster banish, a monster negate, and then a random card that you drew. Alright, now there is a way to work Dragite into your combo, so long as you open your Tenyi combo, as well as your Moye, and then just something for you to reveal off of Moye's effect. Previously, we weren't able to use Dragite because we locked ourselves into worms too early. However, with this kind of hand, you can summon Dragite before you worm lock yourself. So first, we're going to special summon Ashuna just like last time. We're going to link into Monk of the Tenyi. Then we're going to special summon Adhara. And then now, before we use Ashuna effect, we're going to go ahead and normal summon Moye. We're going to use Moye effect, reveal Vishuddha to your opponent, and then summon your Swordsoul token. Now, you're going to go ahead and synchro Moye plus the token into your Adamantipator Risen Dragite. And then off the Moye effect, you'll go ahead and draw one card. So now, once you're done with your non-worm plays, you can go ahead and banish your Ashuna, summon your Vishuddha from the deck, and then you can go into the same combo as we did last time. So you go into your Chi-Shao, use your Chi-Shao effect, search your deck for either Long Yuan or your Blackout. You can pick either. So here I'm just going to add Blackout to my hand, and then you can use your Adhara effect, banish it, add Ashuna back to your hand, and now you can set your Blackout. So now since you have a water monster in grave, your Spell and Trap Negate off of your drag guy is live. So you have one Spell Trap Negate, one Monster Negate, pop 2, and then you have Tenyis in your hand to full combo next turn, even if they do manage to fully clear your board. Alright, now we're going to showcase what you should do if you open Heavenly Dragon's Circle. Now, you're going to go ahead and, as usual, normal summon your Moe, you reveal Vishuda to your opponent. If your opponent chains something like Effect Veiler or Infinite Impermanence to your Moe, and it successfully resolves, your plays pretty much just stop here. But, since we have Heavenly Dragon Circle, you can chain Heavenly Dragon Circle to their Infinite Impermanence or their Effect Veiler, tributing your Swordsoul Moe, and searching your deck for your Tenyi Spirit Shafana. And now, since your opponent's Effect Veiler and Infinite Impermanence has lost its target, your Moe effect resolve successfully summon you a Swordsoul token. Now, since you control no effect monsters, you can activate your Shafana effect in the hand, special summon it, and then synchro your Shafana and your token into your Swordsoul Grandmaster Chi-Xiao. And then here, Chi-Xiao can search you Long Yuan or search you your Blackout. And you have set up your regular board and play through one hand trap of your opponent. So your opponent's going to be starting with one less card, and you have your standard board as well as follow up on the next turn. Alright, so for this combo, we're going to be showing you how you can make a Chao Feng, which is your standard Tenyi combo. So first, you special summon your Ashina, and you link your Ashina away into your Monk of the Tenyi. And then again, you activate your Hara effect, special summon Hara, and you use your Ashina effect, banish it to summon a Vishuda from your deck. Now here, you're going to synchro not into Chi-Xiao, but into a Boxia. And then you're going to use your Boxia's effect, targeting your Monk of the Tenyi as well as your Abhara in the graveyard. You'll send Monk of the Tenyi to the graveyard to special summon Abhara, and then from here, you can synchro these two into your Chao Feng. Now, since Boxia is a light Yang Zing, your opponent cannot activate the effects of light monsters. So if they hadn't Nibiru'd you by this point, they won't be able to anymore. And then against this like Exo Sister and Math Mech that I mentioned before, they won't be able to use any of their monsters' effects since they're primarily light based. And it's a good option if you know they're playing those decks. But if the Tenyi combo is all that you started with, I wouldn't recommend this line, especially if you're unsure of what your opponent's playing. I would probably go the line that I showed you previously, where you go straight into Chi-Xiao, and then you search your Blackout, your Long Yuan, or you search your Moe instead. Alright, so for this last combo, I'm going to show you guys how you can summon double Boxia and shuffle potentially up to 4 of your opponent's cards back into their deck. And for this combo, all you would need is Taya in your hand and then Blackout in your graveyard. This happens very often when you keep Taya in your hand for follow-up, and you use your Blackout on your opponent's turn to prevent them from killing you, so that when your turn comes around, you have a Blackout in your graveyard and you have a Taya in your hand. This Vishuda is going to be handy later on for us to continue comboing. So we're going to normal summon your Taya, you're going to use Taya effect, banish your Blackout to summon your Swordsoul token. Since your Blackout was banished, you use Blackout effect to summon another Swordsoul token. Now, Taya's wind and your Swordsoul tokens are all water. So you synchro your Swordsoul token and Taya into your first Boxia. Now, since you use 2 monsters with 2 worm monsters with different attributes for its summon, you can target up to 2 of your opponent's cards and shuffle them into the deck. So you're gonna have Boxia be channeling 1, and then your Taya be channeling 2. Taya will send 1 worm monster from your deck to the graveyard. Here we're gonna send ourselves a copy of Swordsoul Moe. So Boxia has shuffled 2 of your opponent's cards back into their deck now. So you use Boxia effect, Boxia's other effect, target himself and your Swordsoul Taya again. You're gonna send Boxia to the graveyard to summon your Taya. Taya is once per turn, so don't activate his effect again. But the reason we reborn him is because we have now another wind plus water pairing. So you can go into your second Boxia, since Boxia isn't once per turn. And you can target 2 more of your opponent's cards to shuffle back into the deck. And then once you've done that, you've cleared all of your opponent's board. You can use your Boxia effect again, target itself, and target the Moe in your graveyard. Send your Boxia, summon your Moe, and then you use Moe effect, reveal that handy worm monster in our hand, or any Swordsoul card, and summon your Swordsoul token. And then you can do the standard play